No, you
Shut up.
You have a great personality. Yeah, you should definitely make money off your personality.
Yeah, I know. He literally asked me.
Yeah.
He was like, "What do you want to do?" And I go, "Get paid to be myself."
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
like, "All right, I want to help you do that," kind of thing. So
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. We'll regroup in a couple of weeks, but
So, do you have a theme for yours, or are you kind of undecided?
I'm undecided. I mean, I have women empowerment.
Okay.
I definitely want to do empowerment. I want to talk about like relationships and mental health, but really the empowerment side of things, like helping people step into their true potential. Like, what challenges have you gone through? Cool. Now, like, and a lot of the guests that I've had on my podcast, they've gone through some type of challenge, and now what are they doing with it to create impact in the world?
Yeah.
That's essentially.
Okay.
It's a little tie of all that together.
Okay. Is there still energy behind that for you?
Yeah, there is. I just feel like I want to do it more like an in-person thing, or do like live shows.
I think you should do what I'm doing right now.
What we are doing right now. I am a part of this right now.
I do it on my own. No, your energy's so good face to face.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the Zoom one is really going to do it.
I don't either. It's not, and I think that's it. Like, because this is my second break on my own show, and I think that's it. It's just like I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I want to like be in the room and like hug the person if I want to. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
The energy is just, the vibration is not as elevated as it could be.
So is part of the issue that like the guests that you want aren't local, so it's like you can't really.
Yeah, essentially, it would probably be that financially. Flying them in, things like that.
I don't think you should fly them in. That's my point. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's a lot of great people here in Atlanta that I would also like to interview. I've had some local people on my podcast before.
Yeah.
Who are dynamic, amazing, incredible people. So but yes, there are some people that I'm like, oh, this person, they live in fucking San Diego. Like, so there are a lot, most of my guests have been not local to Atlanta.
Yeah, I think you also have access to like a different, level, and then like they're probably not here. And
right.
So what I'm hearing from you is just like I like this, but it's not face to face. There's not enough energy there.
Right.
And I would like to do more of it, but in a way that like actually works.
Yes, and that just fuels me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead
like I
of
feel like
draining
everything. Yeah, exactly. Like even with when I coach clients, it's the same way. If there's someone that, like, I could literally have the same type of conversation with two different people, but one could drain my energy,
And
one could
it.
fuel it, and I could, like, an hour-long consultation coaching call could feel like 5 minutes with one person, and another could feel like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's just like you really have to get aligned with
Is that dependent?
with like that energetic match behind the person. Like,
But a lot of people who need coaching are energetically draining.
yes, however, except, and this is probably where I have been, although I haven't fully, I am now, but wasn't fully stepping into it. But like, I really want to do like the business mindset coaching space, because talking strategy, you don't go deep. You don't need to hear about their life shit. Yeah. But when you're talking about the mindset and relationships and all that, yes, then you start going deeper. But those types of people who are trying to make money, creating their own businesses, they're not as energetically draining as someone who needs nutrition coaching.
I remember you talking about the nutrition coaching.
It's just different. I just am so drained.
You were telling me how much you were loving it,
I do love it in certain ways, but it's just like, they're not as... I was going to make a joke.
No,
they're not as hungry.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Don't fat shame.
But they're not as hungry for like results. Like when money is a motivator. Sorry, but it is. Money is a motivator and it's not just the money though. It is when the money can do to help. So you have to look at all your whys. Like your family. Okay, you're struggling financially because you can't X, Y, and Z for your children or your husband or your boyfriend, whatever the case may be. Like those people are hungrier than, I just want to lose weight. And those people are hungry too, but it's in a completely different way. Is it like that's like the first stage of ambition and drive, I feel like, because I was there. I was at that place in my life when I had gained weight, and then I was like trying to do anything and everything to lose the weight and get back to my normal self, right? So yeah, there is a drive, there is a hunger, but there's also this just very draining, lacking energy. Whereas when there's someone who is really wanting to excel in their business or in launching a business, whatever, I just feel like it's a different type of energy in a way.
Well,
while I'm saying that, though, I'm kind of like having conflicting thoughts. I'm not even going to lie.
You're losing your certainty.
Yeah, I was.
I think there are different parts of this that part of it is sometimes when people don't feel good about themselves, like they're almost approaching the problem from the wrong angle. Where it's like, hey, you don't like really like yourself at all, and no matter how good you make yourself look, it's really not going to fill that for you.
Right.
There's also the other component of like when people are trying to make money, they're trying to move towards something. And when people are trying to lose weight, they're trying to move away from feeling fat and shitty.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
like,
well, yeah. And I was going to say what kind of just came to me was they both have a hunger for, one, yes, they get in this like needy, like I'll do anything to lose the weight, to feel better, to feel sexy again, blah, 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 to get my life back. And then on the other sense, when people are in a very poor situation financially, they're like very needy, graspy, will do anything for the money. But again, it's both coming from this place of like lack and scarcity.
Yeah.
So
scarcity,
whatever, however you say the word. Anyways, but then they're just so needy that they'll try something for 5 days and they'll be like, oh, it's not working. And they'll like jump ship. Whereas I feel like someone else who is, you know, maybe, okay, they have a semi-stable income and they want to launch a business. They don't have to have that needy energy because they're paying their bills. They're fine.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just a different energy in that space. And maybe I just called in my type of client that I would like to work with. I can't help you if you were just I mean, I can help you launch a business from wherever state you are, but it's easier when you're not coming from this place of lack, because I have also been there too, where I didn't have money coming in. And I was just like, what do I do next? What do I do next? What do I do next?
Yeah. My experience, so my sister did therapy for like 9 years. She ran her own private practice with therapy clients. And I was like, oh, that must be really nice to help people. She was like, it's exhausting. Yeah. They are energy vampires because the amount of need and the lack of agency, like those two things in combination, where it's just like years and years and years of listening to this person and them doing nothing. And like, I'm very clear that I'm not the right guide for that. Like, it's so exhausting when someone comes to you for advice and then they don't take it. And then they come back and they don't take it. And after like 2 times, I'm like, this is a waste of your time and my time.
Right.
On the flip side, it's super energizing when you like give someone some advice. Like they come to you and then you give them advice and then they go out and they execute and they bring it back.
For sure.
And so I've always been really careful that like when I get coaching, like I'm on it. Like, because I want to be their favorite client so that they're like excited, they have energy getting on the call with me, and they know that like whatever they share, I'm gonna take it and like run with it. But to like bring it back to your earlier point, it's like I can't tell if it's the fact that they're not implementing or like the fact that they're just kind of like in the same thing, or if it's coming from like the neediness and the scarcity. But I do know they're fucking draining.
You're right.
Like I know either one of those scenarios. Like if you're really needy but you're like owning it and you're like working through it and you're like it's not as draining. But I also hear you on like the business stuff. It's just more cut and dry, like where you're not even really getting into any of that stuff.
Right.
Which is also nice.
Yes.
And I think it is tough if you're with a client and you like really hit that core neediness, and then it's like they're just kind of trying to have you fill it, you know, and getting them to like fill their own cup. I don't know. I don't think my vision is coaching.
I don't think mine is either.
So
Mine's not either.
No, we're both unemployable. So you like doing sales and I like doing sales.
Yeah.
And I think part of that reason is because like it's kind of like coaching, but it has more energy. Where like you're helping them make a decision and like move into something, but like there's stakes.
Right.
There's like money in the game. Mm-hmm. Whereas with coaching, it just feels like it's really low stakes. Because I was trying to understand why my coaching calls, why it's like sometimes there's warm fuzzies, and that's amazing. That's great, and I'm like more than happy to do that. But it's way more thrilling to like try to make $100,000 on a call.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And so like trying to work through whatever the blocks are with that person to get them to the other side with like a lot of money on the line is way more fun. Not to say that like I won't do any coaching at all.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's true for you, or like kind of like how you view sales versus coaching, and kind of like which one gives you more energy.
Well, I don't know. It honestly, it just depends. I would say in my current role right now, with the marketing that I was telling you that I was doing, I do get it's funny because I will have like my routine questions that I ask my clients, and then I will ask them about their business. Like I'm like, okay,
what's up?
Great, our processes are working, they're flowing together, all that stuff. But so what's your client volume like right now? Are you looking to grow? Are you looking to stay steady? If you're looking to grow, how are you marketing yourself? Like, are you just doing Google Ads? Is it just word of mouth referrals? Do you use social media? How are you use social media? And then I go into that question because I'm like, I'm not like, I have more value to give you than just marketing my business to your business and hoping that you'll send clients to us. I have more value than that, and I have to execute and use my talent, skills, and abilities while I'm in this space that I'm into. So,
what are your talents?
And I've had
what are your talents?
What I got lots of talents.
Okay.
I got lots of talents.
Name 2 talents. No, what are your in that space? What's your talents?
Honestly, connecting with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my charisma to connect with people and help them feel safe. So
clearly, sales is checked. Like. Yeah. So everything that's under the bucket of sales, I hear you.
Okay.
Right? So like connection, charisma, listening, rapport,
right,
unattractive, etc.
Exactly.
So when it comes to actually like outside of that, like when I talk to like my clients, like it's more around their recruiting, because that's my actual like subject matter expertise, outside of fucking like pay-per-click and emails and all that other shit. So like, are you pulling back the hood on their business because you're interested in business and like how to make more money, or like is it that you like give me some context, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm interested. Yes, I'm interested to learn how they are doing things.
Okay. Why?
Because I like to expand people's minds, and if they're
tiny minds.
Yeah, but I guess that's a part of sales. You are helping. Selling is doing that. It is helping people think outside the box and like, oh, okay, let's implement this. Let's do it this way. The critical thinking, the whole thing. But I feel like there's a lot of people that there's a lot of millionaires that have a very limited mindset still. Yeah. Like just because one strategy worked, cool. There's so many other strategies that can work, or different ways to do things. Or, hey, you haven't thought of this stream of income? Would that serve you better than the other 6 streams of income that you have coming in right now? Like, what is draining you? What's burning you out? Right? So it's like pivot, navigate, like.
Do you want to?
So I like expanding people's minds to think outside the box.
Well, do you want to? And again, this is going to get sent to you. I'm not going to put this on the internet, right? So like, right? So like, do you want to sell something different, or do you want to sell? Like, I sell my own company. It's the best.
Yeah. Essentially, I mean, granted, like with my coaching, currently right now, I don't have the energetic capacity to have like one-on-one clients or even really do a group coaching. It's a lot of energy, and if the energy is not aligned for everyone on that call, then it's not gonna.
Okay.
It's just not gonna feel good for me. Not that I'm responsible for those other people's energies, but I really gotta like hone it in. So I would rather, like have like digital courses, which I do. I've created digital courses in the past, but so I do have these available as resources. So have digital courses available for people. And then I'm doing more stuff like this and getting paid to do stuff like this, whether it's podcasting, speaking engagements, workshops, retreats, whatever the case may be, where I am in person.
All right, hold on. Go all the way back. I'm so confused. So how, like, okay, B to B or B to C? Like, are you talking about, like, selling coaching to individuals?
It's both. Why would you not do it to both?
Well,
I mean, if I could have, like, a digital... Well, okay, you're right. B to B, essentially.
Okay.
Like, talking to, like, the big guys.
Okay. Or gals.
Big guys
Sexist.
or gals. Yeah. They. Yeah. I mean, essentially, yeah. Like, because they are high-minded, like-minded thought leaders.
Yeah.
So, yes, I would like to because I feel like I have studied. Granted, I'm not an expert, obviously, but expert in certain ways of how they think.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I would like to challenge myself to be able to work with that type of person.
Okay.
And not just B2C. But I wouldn't necessarily cut off that way to impact other people either. So, and it maybe that impact, it's not a digital course. Maybe it is a podcast that B2C people listen to.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense.
So.
And I'm also not trying to, like, fucking narrow you down. Like, here's the plan. It's like,
it's great.
It sounds like you're playing with different things.
Yeah, I am.
And you're not like, hey, this is exactly where the rubber's meeting the road and I'm executing on this. You're kind of like, I'm dabbling here, I'm doing this, I'm trying this.
Right.
And there isn't anything that's jumping out as like, hey, this is like the one thing I should focus all my energy on.
Right.
And I also don't want this interview for me to be like, well, it's like, I'm literally just trying to understand because you have a bunch of different things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to understand how your brain is working and like what.
Yeah. I mean,
looks like.
Besides literally getting paid to be myself, I don't have like I wish that I was born and was like, yeah, I want to be like an astronaut. And I only went towards an astronaut, you know? Yeah. Or like a doctor.
We're
of
not
some
smart
sort.
enough to be astronauts.
Right, I'm not.
There's a lot of that.
I only want to be an anesthesiologist. I wanted to be that since I was 4 years old, and I will always only ever want to be that. Like, I've never had that. Never.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was younger and people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, it wasn't one thing. It was a teacher, a baby doctor. There's the doctor part. But the baby doctor, yeah, a pediatrician. I want to be a pediatrician. Yeah, an actor, teacher, baby doctor. And I have added some like dancing and singing in there too. I am going to have a song on Spotify one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is on my like bucket list for 2024 to hire a singing a voice coach.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, they might know someone here.
I know. Anthony. Yeah.
Okay. So
who knows? Like, the sky is not even the limit of what we can do, what we are capable of. Like, why sit there and just work such a icky,
look, I get it. And
live a okay life when you can live a great life.
In America, we tend to like kind of like try to put someone in a box and like be like, well, and like we're pretty analytical, you know what I mean? But again, I'm only asking so I understand what the fuck like you're doing.
Yeah, I want to do.
Yeah. But like not so much to box you. Okay.
No, it's okay. No,
why do women like retreats so much?
Because they like,
like what he's going.
They like to escape.
I hear it from women a good bit, but I never hear a man and he's like, you know what I need? A fucking retreat.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So what's up? Is part of it like the context where it's like, hey, like women are such supporters normally like in their environments that like they really actually need to unplug of all of the things in order to like spend time and energy on themselves, or like have you thought about that, like why it worked for you, or why?
No, I haven't really been intentional about thinking about it, but to answer your question,
you've heard it, guys. She doesn't know anything about it. No. Where's my camera? Where she doesn't know shit.
No, I'm just saying I've never been asked, so I don't have the
where's camera one? Yeah
the intentional. No, I think that whether it's society, culture, or whatever, puts a lot of as you just mentioned, boxing in on women and standards and what we're supposed to do. And although we also put that on ourselves, Women are very emotional beings. We don't we do process emotions, but also we like bypass and we like create stories. I feel like more than guys do, and maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's not true, but I just feel like you guys compartmentalize things a lot better and differently than we do. We don't. We just don't really compartmentalize, I don't feel like, unless you are detaching and dissociating yourself because of a former like trauma or inner child wound or whatever the case may be. It's not because you're like, that doesn't serve me and you just push it along. Yeah. It's, this is scary. Your ego's like,
yeah, leave it alone.
Leave it. Yeah. So I just feel like it's a way that we can intentionally create space for ourselves.
Okay.
And take time to actually connect. And I've seen, like, I've witnessed at these retreats, there are people that'll, we're going around the first day and they're introducing themselves and they're a little guarded. Whereas, like, someone else, like myself, cries day one on the retreat because I'm just unleashing everything.
You're not even off the plane yet.
I'm not even off the plane. I'm already crying. But there's some people
mess.
that are, they're a little bit more cold and just closed off. And by day 3 of the retreat, they're so vulnerable and they're holding space for other people. And it's just like, wow, because they were actually able to feel safe enough to let their guard down and just be and allow themselves to just be. And not have to feel the pressures of, well, I should be showing up this way, or I need to be doing this, or what other thing do I have to do today? Like, when I walked in here, I mean, I feel like every day it's a constant, like, I have a to-do list a mile long. And then I ask myself, Kelly, do you really have to do the things that are on your to-do list today? And then I say no. And then I put them off. And then that to-do list just keeps on growing, and then I'm like, shit, I gotta do it all. And then sorry, like, I can't accept your free product.
Do you feel like people are asking more and more from you then?
Sometimes, but again, it's my choice to say yes to those.
Sometimes people are guilted into a yes.
Yeah, sometimes. I don't feel like I am. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good about honoring my self in that way.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, no, I wasn't. I was like,
sure.
okay.
Yeah.
But now, yes. However, there are sometimes it's like, I feel like maybe like my old patterning shows up and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then like a week or two later, I'm like, I don't have time to do that. Like I really, like I did, like look, I'm just busy. Like, I'm sorry.
I find it hardest when it's socially, when it's like, someone's like, oh, Todd, are you going to do this? And there's like 8 people in the room and they all look at me and I'm like, I mean, at this point, you're asking this in a way that you know as well as I do that the social momentum is going to like I'm not just going to be like hard no in front of all these people and then it's like, now I'm a fucking asshole. But then I also am like, yeah, like for sure. Which in my mind I go, you're already not being honest. But then I'm like, but you also asked me in a way that you knew that it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
So then on the backside, I'm like, hey, I actually thought about it. And so I have that happen a good bit. Like kind of that, I don't want to say people pleaser per se, but that type of like expectation relatively.
Yeah.
But I think it might be easier because I'm a dude. And, if I'm an asshole, they're like, well, he's a fucking guy. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I thought not going to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that could, I feel like there's a whole thing. I just heard this like recently, but like if that was for a woman and she said no, then she's a bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And it's like, no, we just have clear boundaries and we have confidence and we are allowed to use both of those.
Yeah.
And a no's a no. Like, sorry. I mean, that's like when I am working with clients and I, those who are coming to me for like business stuff, I'm like, what essentially, how do you want your business to be? What does that look like for you? Reverse engineer and start creating that now, because otherwise you're going to get yourself in a hole of actual fucking burnout.
Yeah. And
you're going to hate that vision.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like, oh my God, I feel so far away from that vision. That's never going to be a thing. So it's like, start creating those boundaries now. I've been working with a couple of girls with like health coaching and stuff. And one was like, I really want to like launch a business. Can you help me with that? And I was like, yeah. And so I like sent her my Calendly link and she's like, there's no times available. I only had 2 days out, like maybe like Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Cause I'm like, I'm working during the day. Like I only have them like 5 to 8 available, or 5 to 7 really. And she's like, I don't see anything available until like December. She's like, do you have any, like, do you work on, like, how about Saturday? And I was like, I do not work on a Saturday. I do not work on the weekends. But my business, like, I want to have it very just how I want it. You don't start a business
I
to,
get it.
you know what I mean?
get
It's like
it.
you don't start a business to run it like someone else would. Like, you start a business to
So
make
did
it how
she
you
call
want
you
it.
a bitch then? Is that
No,
what-
and
Okay.
obviously I didn't say, you know, obviously
Yeah, you weren't an
I want to
asshole in
help
delivery.
her.
Yeah.
I want to help her. While also I'm not available on the weekends. Like I can't. Like
Well, you're
I'm
making a
working
choice.
so much already
Yeah.
during
You're
the
making a
week.
choice.
Yeah.
And you're saying, hey, this is what's long-term sustainable for me.
Right.
And it's having these days.
Right.
set aside.
Exactly.
So do you have things that you're like, hey, I really do need to clear this? Like I have like obligations that I want to offload or get off, or things that I've agreed to in the past that like really aren't a fit for me anymore, that I'm kind of like allowing to like just kind of fucking keep going, even though I know that they're not a fit.
Yeah. Yes. So I would say that
Like brand was one.
I would say like brand, like not necessarily so there's brand partnerships and like brand affiliations, right? Like I am an affiliate for a handful of brands.
Okay.
So it's okay. Yeah. Is that easy money? You post the link, you share the picture of the thing, or you using it or talking about it, whatever, and you post the link. Okay. Am I posting about it often enough to even make it lucrative? Maybe not. Could I be making more from it? Sure. Also, I'm like, okay, what things are taking away from what I really want to be doing? Because even though it takes 2 seconds to take a picture and assign a link to it on Instagram and post that thing,
Yeah.
it's still taking a second to do that where I could be doing something else.
It's even deeper than that. So
Yeah.
there's this concept of there's no such thing as a 30-minute meeting.
Right.
Which means that like a lot of our most productive thinking actually comes from that space where like we're just kind of ruminating.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you want to be careful about like the things that you're picking to move the ball on, because your brain will kind of think about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so then when you insert all these other things that are kind of like off brand or off target for you, it actually takes a lot more energy.
Yeah.
So one bucket for you is like the brand agreements, and kind of looking at like, hey, I really need to just like skinny this down to like the handful that like I actually really do support and am behind.
Yeah, 100%.
So you enjoy doing sales.
Yeah.
You enjoy doing coaching with people that have like a high sense of agency, like they're
Right.
actually going to move the ball forward.
Yeah.
You enjoy like presenting, whether it's speaking or podcasts or something like
Yeah.
that. And then some sort of marketing. Like it sounds like you like doing the social media, like creating posts that you think are good or that are engaging. And so it's kind of sales, coaching with high agency, presenting, you said dancing, singing, right? And then some sort of marketing. Is
Yeah.
that are we close on that, or like is there something that I'm missing?
Yeah, no, I think that's close. I would say the marketing, I do like that, but I think, again, it's either writing, like my like long form captions that I do sometimes, when it's just flowing. Like I'm just channeling a message and hope it sticks with someone.
So it's writing.
Yeah, it would
Okay.
be writing, but I don't want to I get
I
don't
it.
want to be a writer.
Look, I
But
mean
yes.
this one in service of the other ones. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
like you're going to go out and you're going to do copy for another company. I'm
Right,
saying
yeah, no.
if it's sales, high agency coaching and some sort of speaking or presenting, and then there's marketing that's kind of done in service of those, directly tied to your brand. I don't think
Right.
you really give a fuck about doing it for
Yeah.
someone else, but like for your brand, I think you're down for that.
Yeah, I am to a degree. I mean, I essentially would love at some point, people to post it for me.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
people like if there was someone in here taking a picture of us or
Dude.
something like that, and then they upload it. They get the caption, they do the thing, and I can be
I've got a gal in
working
South
with a
Africa.
client or sitting on a beach. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm definitely wanting to offload, and I recognize too, just these last few months. I mean, granted, I'm sure I've recognized this before, but as I mentioned, I'm fully I really want to step more into that, helping people expand their mind, that business coaching sense. But maybe it's not necessarily like coaching one-on-one. It's to a broader, like when you go online and you hear see Tony Robbins doing a message. He's not one-on-one. He's He's coaching
Are you
everybody
speaking directly
online.
to me? Okay.
You know what?
Thank you.
Right. But you know what I mean? He's like,
Yeah.
he's creating content that speaks to everyone.
Okay.
That's what I would like to be doing. Like, I mean, I already am, but you know what I mean? Like,
But you're saying you want to be creating that content for business owners, not for women.
for women, business owners.
Okay.
I mean, I can help guys too, but I just
Look,
feel like
I'm not pigeonholing you.
it's
Dude.
just more the things that I have learned and studied resonate. I feel like more for women, more for the female. So that's where I would want to, because I'm gonna talk about their sexual energy and how that's showing up in their business or not.
Okay.
Right? And so I'm a woman. I get it. Different things. Like, I just feel like, and there's just a lot of, stories and beliefs around women in general. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I could speak to that versus what a man. Like, I mean.
Do you feel like that's because that's the space you're in now? Like earlier you were doing coaching around, body or around health because you were really in that phase. Right. You know what I mean? And now you're moving into this more expanded phase, and you're like, I would like to coach people that are going through that. Yeah.
And I think the reason why I say women only really is because I feel like we're just, again, we're very boxed in, and whether it's because someone is putting that box around us or we're doing it to ourselves because that's how we think we should be.
Do you, when you're going to be coaching them, do you want to talk about the relationship front? So like there's like health, wealth, relationships, and happiness. Like those are kind of like, when you look at most coaching or most, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how to make money, like, right? Or health, like how to lose weight, or like relationships, how to lose them in like 30 days or whatever. Or like happiness. So it's like, I hear you speaking into the business and I hear you speaking into the health. Do you want to speak into the relationship part too, or no?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
I do.
How's that
I mean, it's all connected. I mean, granted, I would say probably it would be relationship, strategy, mindset would be the top 3 pillars, honestly.
Wait, say it again.
Like relationships, mindset, like business strategy would be the 3 like main pillars of what gets me most excited about
to have a conversation about.
Because your health, your food, is a secondary food. So we can get into that. Yeah. So your relationships, career, your relationships, your career, your exercise, your finances, and your spirituality are your primary foods. If there's something not balanced in one of these, what you put in your mouth is going to be off balance. That is actually a secondary food. All of these factors actually impact what you eat or don't eat. And when you are not eating right, it's going to affect all of these primary foods.
Yeah.
So that is, like I said, it's only a component of your health. All these 5 are the bigger components of your health.
Yes.
So relationships.
You heard it here first, guys.
Relationships.
This is how it works.
Relationships, mindset. And when I say mindset, that's overarching, obviously, around the business relationships, but like money mindset. Okay. So relationships, money mindset, and business strategy. And it's all spiritual connection. I mean, when you're a client of mine, we're going to talk about all of those things, of course. Sure. But yeah, I mean, I just want to help people expand their mind and help them understand, like someone helped me understand how the subconscious mind works and why we do what we do and why we're thinking those ways, why we aren't creating the results that we're looking to create. Why? I mean, I know for a fact, why am I where I am and not where I would like to be? Because I've played small and I've chosen.
You're tightening up already. Guys, she's so tense right now where she tries to.
Because I get irritated. Because I kick myself. I know it is a journey, this whole thing, and I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, but I know that I
I can feel
wish that I could have done things differently.
I can feel your thinking analytical mind coming online right now.
Yeah.
Like I can feel the shift from energy outflow expansion to here comes the judgment of why this is.
Well, it is. And I try, and obviously that's something I work on all the time, is not shaming myself, because again, I am grateful for where I'm at. I've met some amazing people on this journey to get me to where I am.
Why would you have anything?
Today.
Okay, why the fuck would you have anything to shame yourself on?
Well,
not
necessarily shame. Well, you're right. I'm not. It's not necessarily shaming. I'm just like judging.
Like you're all. I mean, yes, you're a loser. You have nothing good going for
yourself. I am a
yourself.
loser. No, just kidding. No, I am. Like, everything is good. Everything is great.
Except.
And I just wish that I had really shown up when, like in the past, just over the last few years. I wish that I had just shown up in a different way.
What do you mean?
Like, I wish that I had started this whole, like, maybe business coaching thing or speaking to it sooner. That's all. I've learned this stuff I learned it in 2019. It's been 4 fucking years. Kelly Chase, what are you doing? You don't go, like, you know? It's like, okay, you go to college. You go to college. Well, yeah, and again, everything in divine timing, of course. I know that that's why things are happening the way that they're supposed to. And I may not even do this. I may become an actress and you'll never hear this ever again from me. Who the hell knows? I don't. But, like, you go to college, you learn information. Granted, when I went to school, I was lost.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, so I got a fashion merchandising degree, did nothing with it, and started in sales.
Yeah.
So sales has been a part of my life, my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, it's always, we're all sellers. Like, we all can sell.
Yeah, yeah.
You're selling yourself all the time, of course.
That I'm down with.
But I don't know. I just feel like I wish that I had just started to show up better for myself earlier on than now. But again, I'm grateful for where I'm at too. So no regrets. I just know that it was my own insecurities and doubts and whatever holding me back.
Okay.
There's probably a lot of, like, subconscious, like, fear, of course, going on. Like, when I decided to change my lifestyle in 2018, it was a very lonely time for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe now, although I'm doing things differently, there's still that fear that I'm going to be alone again.
Yeah.
When I decide to up level.
Yeah.
So I hold myself back. I keep myself stuck.
Got it. Yeah. Small.
So
yeah.
Instead of really...
You think a lot of women do this?
100%. We all do. We all do. We don't all do. But yes, I believe a lot of women do this.
Because they feel like if they get that success, that then they won't be able to be with, like, explain it to me.
Potentially. Maybe they'll outgrow their partner. Their partner won't come with them.
Yeah.
They fear success because they'll lose people.
Yeah, they'll lose connection.
You'll lose connection.
Or
that
you
kind
won't
of
be able to have a partner or keep a partner.
Maybe.
Look,
and that maybe because maybe in that regard, in that story, if they feel like they can't keep or hold on to a partner, maybe because they saw their mom or dad become really successful and they got divorced. And now they subconsciously are like, well, if that happens to me, well, I'll never have a boyfriend, or I'll have to divorce my husband, or something like that. So it's a lot of storytelling, but we just really have to step into the unknown. And when we do, things are always better and brighter usually, but it can be scary out there. It's definitely scary. I mean, I know for a fact, like, I have had this conversation with my internal self. I am holding myself back. Like, I am keeping myself stuck, and all these little things, these brand affiliations, all these little things that are jobs on my to-do list that might make me a $5 here and there is me distracting myself from really fucking showing up.
Yeah. I can tell you externally, because I am not in your life in the same way. Right? That it's a fucking waste. Right? So when
What's a waste?
All the stuff that you're doing that isn't, like,
in alignment with
what you're actually trying to do. Like,
100%.
when I view you and I see what you do, when I saw the Bali thing, I'm like, bang on.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I see another, like, skincare and I go,
fuck no.
Yeah, unless you're totally into it, but I can tell that you're not.
Right.
I mean? So,
yeah.
Like,
there are a few brands that I am like 100%. Y'all need this.
And this is going public on the internet.
Yeah.
So I know. Well, look, hey, this is the first time, right? We're
Yeah.
just doing this.
Yes.
And so, like, now I know, like, turn the AC up. Sweating like a motherfucker. We're both going to be so stinky.
Can I take my sweater off?
You can do whatever you want. You're like, I regret. I'm wearing a sweater vest over here, motherfucker. Like, I get it, dude. So hot.
But I agree with you. Like, sometimes I'll do something online. I'm like, it could be in alignment, but it's not. And
I mean,
granted,
there
are a lot of brands that I turn down. I'm like, absolutely not. I won't do it. Won't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Look.
Which I'm grateful for because, y'all, I am becoming more and more of a minimalist and shit piles up. Like, I take bags to friends' house and I'm like, go through it. Go through it and take whatever the hell you want. All this.
Yeah.
I had skincare for the last 3 years in a bag, and I just gifted it to all my girlfriends. I'm like, I'm not using it.
Yeah.
I barely go through makeup in 6 months. Like, it's like hard.
I still find this self-narrative, like, I wish I'd shown up sooner.
I know, it's judgy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm
Well,
human.
you're judging yourself for having.
I'm human.
No, I'm not saying it like that. It's just, so I have a saying, all counterfactuals are false.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, any time spent wishing, thinking,
Right.
projecting that it coulda, woulda, should have
Right.
been different, presupposes that it could have gone another way.
Right.
But the truth is
I
like,
agree.
at that point in time, if I could have decided different, guess what?
Right.
I would have. So I'm under no illusion that, like, I could have made a different choice. Like, I
Right.
look at my life and I go, well, I didn't chose. I didn't choose. I didn't choose to learn English. I didn't choose any of the things. Like, I didn't choose the family. I didn't choose the time. I didn't
Right.
choose any of it. And then the choices that I have made, it's like, that is the best that my brain could do.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I'm like, I am grateful for where I'm at, because everyone that I have met, every opportunity, everything that has been my existence over those last few years was perfectly put there. Like,
Yeah.
there were things, guys I've dated, that I had to go through those situations in order for me to, like, really learn, because had I not, like, yep, I did relationship coaching 4 years ago, dated some silly billies these last few years, and I'm like,
Great guys. Great guys.
I learned the information, didn't implement. Had the awareness,
classic.
didn't implement, right?
That's
So
classic,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm like, I know, I'm so grateful for those, and it's also humbled me in that regard. Like, I just can forgive more easily because of what I've learned and
Yeah.
how people, we're all just hurting sometimes, and
Yeah.
we make the decision, as you just said, like, we make the best decision. We make however I'm trying to say this. The decision that was best for us with the information that we knew at the time.
So there's another saying from NLP, everyone's doing the best they can with the resources that they have.
Yeah,
Meaning that, like, they're
right.
making the best decision that they can, even if it looks like a terrible decision from your vantage point.
Correct.
It's just kind of where they're at.
Right.
I'm at a space in my life where I basically have given up on the narrative self. Like, the narrative self that's like, well, you're this, and then da-da-da, and I'm like, that part of me, persona, ego, what have you, like, is much less pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've done a lot of spiritual exploration since I turned 40, which if before I turned 40, you were like, God, I've been like, shut the fuck up. Like, because I was very much like effort, self-actualization, self-development, and I turned 40 and was like, I think there's something missing here.
Yes, you told me that.
And the way I describe it is like, there's like the way of circumstances of like, let me control the things external to get them to line up the way that I want so that I can be happy. And then there's like anything that isn't that. So like any of the internal, any of the spiritual, right? And I think I just fundamentally realized that like the way of circumstances is at its core a losing path. Like no matter what you do, like if you live long enough, all of it will be gone. Like your health, all of your loved ones, your mobility, even your own brain. And so I think I kind of started to unhook from that. And in unhooking from that, I started to unhook from all of the narrative self. Like, not saying that I don't have a personality and that I don't have I don't, fucking dog shit. But that it will still come up, but it has much less energy now. I still like, I was like working on it this morning. So I do walk every morning. Super exciting, guys. I know.
That was good.
Super
Walks are
exciting.
great.
And I spent more time just like turning it over to God, where it's like ego, persona, trying to effort, trying to solve it. And like, there are some things that have like not been solved after a long time. And I've kind of come to the point of like, if it was solvable from this vantage point, I probably would have solved it. Like,
Right.
I work pretty hard and like I'm pretty diligent and I effort a good bit. So I'm like probably just not able to solve it from this personal sense of like self. And turning it over to God, but like at the same time, not like still feeling love and compassion for that version of me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not being upset. They would say, like I was talking with a close friend, he's fucking phenomenal, runs a very successful self-development company. And he says there's 3 positionalities that the ego takes. Don't care, meaning has absolutely no impact on me, don't give a fuck. Pulling closer or pushing away. And that's it. He's like, from that space, it will either be like, I don't give a fuck about it, I want more of this, or I want less of this. And to put in another way, you can say there's really 3 things. Like good things, yay, bad things, boo. And then trying to adjust so that you get more of the yays and less of the boos. And it's like, that is the ego in of itself. And it's like, it's a losing battle. Like, it's just because things are going to happen that are totally outside your control.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting shift. And the reason I was saying all of that and taking up all of the air and the space in the room was like, it's interesting to hear you describe that narrative self, because it sounds like it's still got a good amount of power.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it does. And it's just something probably in the last couple of months that
you're noticing more.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, Kelly, like, I know these things are distracting me. I know that I need to let go of this. I need to put more boundaries around this.
What do you need more
not
boundaries?
need to, just want to.
What more
Well, I
boundaries?
guess that's probably it. Of like the stop saying yes to everything, stop distracting myself from things, and really just like focus on what I'm really wanting to step into.
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and again, like just reminding myself, as you just said, like not to judge and shame myself, because it's like, yeah, I say it while also I'm like, yeah, but I'm grateful for where I'm at. No, I need to be fully just grateful for where I'm at and not bring up the fact like I wish I was in a different place.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I have found marrying those two to be really difficult. So like, how do you kind of like marry like real acceptance and love, like at a deep level and appreciation for everything that's showing up and want to improve it?
Yeah.
And I would say that closing the gap on that took me a long time. And what I have come to is this realization, which is there is like a getting energy where like Todd, wants to like get something, and I can tell that energy is like what I want, and that energy is basically saying like what is currently present isn't good enough, and I want to get something else, like whether it's relationship, money, yada yada yada, right? It's like I hear that, I let that energy empty out, and what I've come to is like deep appreciate, and I'm not this every day floating on fucking water and turning, water into wine or what have you, but like coming from a deep sense of appreciation and just a general want to expand. And a question my sister gave me that I've been asking a lot is what feels most expansive?
Yeah.
And like using that as the guiding principle. And a lot of times it is like it's just such a good way to cut through, because it's like I've gone into that getting energy and I'm like, okay, dude, like you want this and you want this. Well, let's say you get that, then what? And it's like, well, I'm like, see, like you're not going to be happy like through that channel. Like, it's just like, can you realize now? And he's like, okay. And I'm like, so like, come over here with me where like we're in appreciation and then we're asking what's expansive and moving towards it, because any sort of getting energy just is like unsatiable at its core. Does any of that land?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay.
I feel like, it's just coming from that needy place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is something that I think we can all.
Everyone has it.
Everyone has it.
Yeah, of course.
That is my human experience. I recognize mostly when it comes to dating. The need,
Yeah.
I'm not getting
so chill.
I'm not getting the attention that I want. They're
Yeah.
not committing, whatever the case may be. And then and this literally happened earlier this year. I find myself getting in that graspy, neediness.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, Kelly, check yourself.
Yeah.
You know better. 1, 2, you know better. 3.
You know better.
You know better. You know how, that is you trying to control a situation.
Yeah.
And you can't control it. And I know that throughout,
course.
my being. But when we get in this, okay, I will say this. When you start to lose yourself, I believe it's because you're abandoning yourself. You are abandoning yourself in so many other ways. It's not just that person that's making you feel, or you're making yourself feel that way around that person. It's, okay, have I checked in with myself to see how I'm feeling? Am I really staying in my self-care routine? I think having a really good self-care routine is and exercise routine and eating healthy and nourishing those other, like I said, primary foods is what helps you not be in that needy state, because you're fulfilling your own cup. And when I was not. I didn't have a good workout routine. I was feeling really jumbled with all the other distractions business-wise and career-wise that were going on. And I just was depleted. So I was looking for that in the external.
And it's safe
I'm
to say...
fill me up. I need someone to just love me, because I wasn't loving on myself.
And it's safe to say it worked out.
Yeah, exactly. It did. I have started a self-care routine. I have had the conversation with the gentleman to tell him, I apologize for the way that I behaved, because we were friends, and let's carry on. So sorry.
I find it really interesting, that energy, again, the ego, the getting, the wanting, the neediness, whatever you want to call it. And it's as far as I can tell, it doesn't fully go away. I think there are some people that are a Buddha, Jesus level or what have you, that it goes away. But for the rest of us, it seems it's I wanted to get rid of it for a long time. Yeah. And then that's just another form of resistance, which is a mind fuck, because now I'm pushing that away. And I heard this really great quote. Who the fuck was it from? I can't remember, but it says, any form of resistance is conflict, and conflict creates disease. Yeah. And so any sort of pulling in or pushing away is creating internal conflict, and that is what will create disease in your system. Not to say that there can't be disease outside of that, but just a lot of it. And so this neediness or this wanting or this getting comes up, and my first thing is to want to push it and move back over into tranquil Todd. Mm-hmm. And then I'm but that's also resisting it. So then allowing it. Yeah. And then trying not to minimize or trying not to push it away. It seems like it's lessened a lot. And I don't have a lot of getting energy, but sometimes it does happen, straight up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly, this year's been the worst year I've ever had in business. It turns out if you work an entire year and make almost no money, you're fuck you.
Right, exactly.
You're oh my God. So it's not to say that I'll ever completely get rid of it, but it's been interesting, and I will say it has created a lot more peace, letting that diminish, turning more over to God. Mm-hmm. Because the truth is, if I had control over and there was something more that I could do, then I
would have done
it.
Right.
And so I don't think this is good advice for everyone. There are some people that are our solo agency. I'm motherfucker, you need to do anything. You ain't doing shit. Right. You know?
For
but
sure.
This is probably more for people like you and me who are we're perfect guys. So pretty high, pretty high agency that effort a lot. Right. And when I see those people, I'm you could do with a healthy amount of grace.
Right.
Yes. Because you're carrying everything with you. and you're trying to control it all, and you're trying to make it work, and you're operating from that small little space of you, and like, I hate to break it to you, but like, it's just not that powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree, because when we're doing so much, we, again, can kind of get lost in that, losing ourselves in that.
yes.
And then, yeah, it's like, okay, well, this is the only thing that I can control right now because nothing else feels like I can control it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to let go. Like, even me talking about letting, like, I have to reassess these brand, like, deals and affiliations that
Creates
I'm
a
with.
tightness.
And I'm like, okay, but what can I completely let go, like, never touch again? Like, that, yeah, it just, I feel I've had a letting go problem my entire life. Like, I've pined over guys for years after I've stopped dating them. Like, it's
Successful.
It's a thing. I am a successful non-letting goer.
What is letting, I used to hate the term letting go.
Yeah.
I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
And when anyone would tell me to accept something and to let it go, I was like, fuck you, dude.
Right,
Like, so what do you, like, do you still feel that way when, like, or does it feel different?
It feels different. Not in certain situations probably, but it definitely is easier now to let go.
Yeah.
Not easier
Yeah.
to let go.
Yeah.
I just have a different, I guess because I have been in situations where I've let go
And it feels good.
and I feel the peace on the
Yeah.
other end. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, there's something to this. It's not that bad to let go of the thing.
I discovered the same thing where it was like, so I've got this new
Yay.
metric. I know, guys, again, we're perfect. Where's my camera? I have a very simple, like, question that I ask myself, which is, like, do I feel heavy or do I feel tight? Or do I feel like expansive and open? And it just kind of cuts through, and like pretty much every single time, not even pretty much, every single time that I feel heavy or tight, I am operating from the small ego.
Right.
self.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And then as I let go of that and I kind of like float to whatever the bigger space is, I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Right.
And so I think I have experienced that, like, whatever the thought or the concept or the feeling is, that by actually letting go of it, I shift into peace. And I think having that emotional experience has caused me to let go of, like, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
You know, like, not to say that I don't put energy and effort into what I want, but I recognize that, like, it stops there. Meaning,
Right.
like, I can do what I can do, and
Right.
the rest I have absolutely no control over.
Absolutely.
And every time I've tried to focus on the actual external result, it's made me feel like shit.
Yeah.
And when I have
I agree
been
with
focusing on, like, what's expansive and, like, what feels good, there's another quote which is, like, good to do and good to have done.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, whenever I focus on those things that are, like, good to do and good to have done, it feels good.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that everything lines up, by the way. That doesn't mean that, like,
Right.
I do that and then it's like, there's the Ferrari and then there's the, you
Yeah,
know,
no.
2.5 kids. Like, it's just,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one of my mentors was always like, just speaking of like manifestation, law of attraction, and she's like, when you put yourself into action, to you have the vision, you start taking the inspired, aligned action. She's like, it will come to you.
Yeah.
That the thing you're wanting,
Yeah.
as you asked it for,
Yeah.
it's equivalent or something better.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Catherine Zinkina, this or something better.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well,
Yeah.
it was Maddie, but yeah, she probably.
Well, I mean, Catherine's
It's
like
all
huge.
that. Yeah, Catherine's. Yeah. Manifestation.
I know way too
I
many
do get it from her,
female
too.
like fucking coaches because my sister's like so nerdy into this stuff like I am, and
Yeah.
so she just like constantly like I got another course and like sends it to me, and then my
Oh,
friends are
okay.
like, why are you listening to Amanda Francis and why are you listening to fucking like
They're so
why are you
good.
listen-" Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah,
Okay.
I love them. But yeah, I think it is that, and it's interesting when I recognize certain things come in, like the synchronicities of things.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like, oh, of course that happened because I thought about that, or I've been taking some actions in this way. Of course, the podcast producer reached out to me because I've been talking about how I want to be more seen, how I want to. Did I reach out to the producer? No,
No.
he came to me. You know, it's like, okay, so some things, you reached out to me, right? Like,
You're welcome.
I'm doing it right now. I know. Thank you for this manifestation. But it's just like, it may be completely different, but it's going to serve you better than what you could have expected it to be.
So
in certain ways.
Real talk, I have difficulty with that.
Accepting that.
I talked to my sister about this a good bit. So my sister operates the way that you do.
Yeah.
Which is, she says, inspired aligned action and like moving towards it, and like, the universe already has it.
Yeah.
To me, it still feels like I'm tied to an external result, and I'm still wanting that to be the thing that fills me up. Right? So it still feels like some sort of like wanting, getting, having type of energy. And so, I mean, whatever works for the person is whatever
Absolutely,
works.
for sure.
For me, it served me better to have the vision, release the desire for it, like let it go.
Yeah.
And then take expansive action towards it and turn it over to God and go, I'm going to move towards this. I always tell my sister where I'm like, if God leaves me on the field, like I'll win. Mm-hmm. But I don't get to decide if I'm left on the field or not. So it's like, I'm going to move towards these things, but I also turn it all over completely because I understand like...
Yes, and that's a part of it. That is definitely a part of it, and I think Catherine Seneca says the same thing. Is that how you pronounce her name?
Catherine Zekina, yeah.
Zekina.
The only reason I know how to pronounce it is
she
because I've
says
listened
too.
to way too many of her things.
Yeah, but no, that is it. You take the inspired action, and then you leave it up to faith. You have to get like emotionally involved with it. And
but my sister will be like, here's the vision, and like she still wants the vision, and I guess she's the type of manifester where like it feels good to her, and I go, that doesn't feel good to me because I want to feel full now. Period.
Right.
Like, correct. I don't want any amount of feeling half full and then getting my fulfillment from something external.
Correct.
Like, I want to clear that and then move towards it and, like, already be enjoying it and, like, enjoy the creation of it.
Right. I agree with that.
But it's the ultimate cheat code, just turning it over to God. Because I just go,
100%. Well,
not my business.
No, that's how I've been mentored myself is... Yeah, like it's the faith that comes behind it. Like let it go and like you speak it out. Like just what's her face? Abraham Hicks.
So good.
Ask and you shall receive, basically.
I really
and it's
struggled
like,
with her stuff when I first came across it.
Okay, but it's so good.
So it's
her riffs are so good, and it's like
look,
you have to like break down every thought that she has, like every sentence in a sense, because you're like, whoa.
I think a part of the problem that I've had is I've had a lot of exposure to female teachers. And I think the feminine energy is like that of receptivity. Mm-hmm. And so my sister would send me Abraham Hicks and, Amanda Frank, and they're like, da-da-da. And I'm like, this feels very feminine because like as a man, it feels very good to effort. Like it feels good.
Right.
Like
not just be like, okay, I'm here to receive
it.
That
like it, so when we would get into a thing, she'd be like, you need to just breathe into the space. I'm like, and
then go take action.
Yeah, like I feels better to do that.
Yeah.
You know? So I really did struggle with, I'm not saying any of them are wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying the application of it as a man has been very difficult.
I'm sure.
And the closest I've come to is turning it over to God, like having the vision, working towards it, turning it over to God. Because like it does feel most expansive. Maybe that's it. Like, it feels more expansive for me to work towards it than it does to sit and wait.
Well, yeah, that's not manifestation is not sitting and waiting.
But for some people, that's like their thing.
That's
right? I don't know.
But that ain't it. That's not it. That's what every manifestation expert will tell you. It is not. You have to take action in order to get the thing. That's what. No. That's the biggest like misconception. Is that people are like, oh yeah, just like speak it out into existence and it'll come to you. And it might, but you're probably going to receive the thing when you're taking action towards it.
Yeah.
Or something similar to it, or something even better. Like I said, something different, better, whatever, that's going to serve you better. And sometimes you ask, I think Natasha Graziano had something on this. She was like, I asked for more freedom, and she was given all these challenges. And she talked about it. She goes, and all these challenges, and now I'm here with the freedom. But when I asked for freedom, I was given all these challenges because I had to go through that to get to the freedom that I was looking for. And in the challenges, she was like, it's not what I prayed for. Like, so you're going to get what is divinely meant for you, which again, that's tossing it up to God's plan. There it is.
I just find it easier. It's exhausting to work from this, like,
well, yeah, when you do. Yeah, absolutely.
So how is that working out for you?
How is it working out for me to just chuck it up to God and be like,
well, you're sharing kind of like the manifestation approach that, like,
yeah,
you call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
That, like, you kind of ascribe to, or that, like, works for you. Oh, yeah. So that's my point.
Yeah.
So, like, what is, like,
well,
does
I think
it
it's
work for you or does it not? Or what does seem to work? And I don't mean
yeah,
work as in get the result, but, like, both, like, have the
right,
process be enjoyable and expansive and also create.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's all of that. It's the journey. Like, I find myself having awareness and reminding myself to be grateful for what is happening in the moment.
Yeah.
While taking the actions, or too many actions, as I said, of like distracting myself, thinking that, oh,
frenetic energy.
Yeah, and just being like, okay, wait, no, Kelly, like, let's take a step back, reassess, grateful for all these opportunities, but what is really most important, what is really most aligned for me right now, what is really going to help me move the needle forward into stuff that really lights up my soul. And I think when we can tap into what lights up your soul, then you're just more kind of connected with God in that sense, and you have more faith to be like, you know, I'm having fun today. I decided to go to a dance class or something. Is that aligned with creating impact? Yeah, it is, because I decided to expand myself. And I think you creating that, again, it's a self-care routine. When you were taking care of yourself, that is like the most inspired action that you can take.
Yeah.
So if you need to rest, great. Like, resting is productive. Resting is good. Like, if you need to go get wasted with your friends one night, go do it. Like, you don't have to be constantly on all the time. You have to be in this human experience and be doing those things too. And I'm very guilty of judging myself for doing things like that. Like getting hammer time. I mean, Todd see me. We'll get hammered and then I'm having a great time. And now these last probably 6 months, when I am going and I am intentionally, like, I know I'm going to have more than one drink, maybe more than 4. I will be like, before I go out, I'm like, God, please show me who or what I am supposed to see tonight. Like, reveal to me something, because then I'm going out with purpose and intention and not just to get hammered. I'm getting hammered, but it's just because I'm just having a good time. Yeah. I'm in my own element, and I wind up almost 100% of the time when I do that, I meet someone or have a conversation with a friend of mine that I'm not super close with, but I wind up having just some like philosophical or feedback kind of conversation. And I'm like, that's why I had to come out tonight. That's why I made this decision, because I had to have that conversation tonight. And then it just feels good. But what I'm guilty of is the next day when I feel like asshole and I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that to myself again?
I know.
That's the worst. And that's where I have to really release that shame and judgment around that and be like, well, Kelly, today you're just going to lay around and do jack shit because you made that decision last night and you had a wonderful conversation with someone. And yes, this is a consequence. Maybe you would have ran into that person and had the exact same conversation in a sober moment, but last night you chose to drink and whatever. So it is what it is, you know.
Question, how's dating?
Are we pivoting? I'm not dating right now. I went on 2 dates about a month ago, and the guy had just gotten out of a very long-term relationship, so I know he was not looking.
Are you open to doing it right now or no?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am open to dating. I'm not actively.
You heard it, internet.
Yeah, I'm not actively. Like,
yeah, you're not
taking,
pursuing it.
Yeah, like I'm not on like
open,
the dating apps
the
right now.
Halfway open.
It's halfway open, yeah. Like I feel like I am probably in the space of like offloading some of those distractions and really fine tuning things to where.
You know what the ultimate distraction is, right?
What, a relationship?
Opposite sex.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes, like I am definitely open to dating. If someone asks me that I feel a connection with, I would most likely go. But it's not like a priority,
Yeah.
I guess you could say. So my priority is just relaxing, I think, right now. Like, as much as I can do things. Like, last night, I was like, oh my God, I have to, like, post this reel for this thing. And I was like, mother
it sounds
trucker.
like you're like spring cleaning where you're like, but it's winter cleaning where it's like you're just...
Oh, I'm winter cleaning.
Like, the engagements or the agreements that you have that you're like, and then, like, maybe when those are cleared and you feel like there's more bandwidth in your life, then you'll be more open to it.
I think so, yeah. But again, I am open to it. I mean, if someone were to come in, the guy who went on 2 dates with is so nice. I was like, oh my God.
Really?
Did you have to just get out of a 6-year relationship?
How long ago?
I mean, they broke up like a month. Like, and it was,
that
he
guy...
he wasn't pursuing.
Well, whatever, I don't want to judge.
Yeah, don't judge. He wasn't pursuing. We were actually, we met each other at a gay bar after Music Midtown. And we had a mutual friend. And we just hit it off, just like we were just having a good time. We were both drinking, whatever. Or actually, I wasn't, but he was. Anyways, had a good time. And then he didn't ask me for my number or anything. But then the next night, I was with the mutual friend, and I was like, your friend was like super nice. Like, we had so much fun together. It made me laugh, like all the things. And so she texted me and was like, bro, here's my girl's number. You need to reach out. So granted, he didn't have to, but obviously he felt some type of connection. And he did, and we, two lunch dates, and that was nice.
You're doing lunch dates now?
Oh, we were doing lunch dates, which I was like, that's okay. And she had told me before.
That's his style or that's your style?
No. I mean, I don't mind. It doesn't matter to me. I think he did the lunch because he's not in a place to take it to a relationship. Because he had just gotten out of 6-year one. But the girl told me, she prefaced, she was like, he just got out of a relationship. So I didn't know how soon. Regardless, when someone says that, it's probably usually pretty soon afterwards.
Did he got out of a relationship how long ago? 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, he's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
It was like within a couple months. But super nice guy, and he was very transparent about everything too. And I was like, totally cool. Like, I mean, he'll still reach out, he's like, I'm like, let's go to be friends. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, I was still, I think, cleaning up some things also that I needed to clean up from some past stuff. So.
How long ago since your last relationship?
Like, committed relationship? Like, where someone called me his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Was 10 years ago.
Okay.
A long time.
And how long?
We could do a whole podcast on my dating life.
I know.
There's been a lot of transformation and some not from that.
10 years is a long time.
It's a very long time.
It's a long time.
I've had a lot of emotional relationships since then.
Okay.
And I would say long story short.
Don't make it long story short.
Okay, so the first 5 years after
the 10.
That 10-year relationship, I was just
I get it.
Dating
Tornado.
recklessly.
Yeah, tornado.
Yeah, it was just cyclical behaviors after one another. 2017, I was like that. I had been involved with someone at work that obviously didn't work out. He didn't want to. Can't be in a committed relationship. He's like, we work together, blah, blah. I'm like, fine, I'll quit. I'm not tied to this job. And he was like, no, like, I just don't want to be with you, basically.
Feels great.
So we actually both left that company about a month apart from each other. And that was when I started my whole, like, personal development journey.
Good.
So, yeah, so basically, like, the end of 2017 going into 2018 started all of that. Again, it got kind of lonely because I was, like, not going out with all my friends, not hanging out with my married friends. I was just really recluse and listening to podcasts and reading personal development books and all that. And it was filling my cup, but I was also kind of lonely. And I felt like even more lonely because I realized I feel like I was the one who was always like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And when I'm not asking anyone what they're doing tonight, no one's reaching out to me. to ask what I was doing. There's a couple of friends that did, and they're still my very good friends to this day. But yeah, it became really lonely. I didn't date. And that was the year we filmed Love is Blind. Later on that year, because I was just like, yeah, like I feel like I'm in a really good place. I've been studying myself. I feel like I'm in a really good place to
be open to this.
To be open to something like this. And yeah, so we filmed in 2018. And I did date a couple of guys, like went on a few dates with a couple of guys a few months after we got done with the show, filming the show. One was really funny. He was like, he's like, I just got out of an engagement. And I was like, oh. And I go, well, funny story, I did too. Funny story, I did too. So anyways, shared the story with him, but he did. And I was like, I have been trying to fix men for 10 years. I go, I am not doing that anymore. I said, you're not ready for a relationship. And he was like, what are you talking about? Anyways, we went on a couple dates. Like, I mean, we hung out a couple more times, and then...
Sounds like it was off to a great start.
Do what?
It sounds like it was off to a great start.
Yeah, I mean, we hung out a couple more times.
Oh, you're not ready for a relationship. What do you mean? And then we went on dates.
Well, I'm
okay,
saying
we're fucked here,
not...
people.
No, it wasn't like
I'm
we went
teasing.
on dates. I recognized what the situation
you saw it
was,
early, yeah.
and I was like, well, he's, like, nice to hang out with. Like, so we built, like, a friendship. Let's put it that way. And then it was funny, like, we both kind of, like, just stopped talking to each other for a few months, and he messaged me one day, months later, and was like, hey, Kel, sorry I've been distant. You were right. He's like, I wasn't over my ex and blah, 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 and I'm just, like, going to find some time to work on myself. And I was like, good for you. You got it. I started dating, later on I started dating a guy friend of mine that really only lasted a few months, and that really did a number on me. Although we only dated a few months, it was someone I knew for a very long time. And that was a off and on again, me not learning my lessons. 3.5, 4 years. So that has been the emotional relationship that I have been in or was in up until earlier this year.
Good on you for sharing.
When he and I weren't on, I was trying to hang out with other people. One other guy friend of mine in particular, we thought we were attracted to each other. He was pursuing. I'm like, okay, like, this feels good because he doesn't want to make a commitment to me. So now this guy comes in the picture, and then he winds up not wanting to make a commitment to me either. And I'm like, what the fuck is the energy? Like, why does nobody want to love me? But, and him and I, again, it was kind of basically the two of them that I was, like, in between the whole time for the last few years. And
that's difficult.
It's real difficult. Again, but it wasn't like, oh, we were like off for 3 weeks and I was on with another guy for 3 weeks. It was like that one person I didn't talk for like 9 months. And in those 9 months, I was entertaining this other person and if they pursued me, or if there was another guy who did, then I'd be like, yo, let's go on a date. Let's hang out and stuff. And then the other person, 9 months, and then they come back and I was like, okay, show me what's changed. Show me what's different. And maybe a little bit changed. And then it would fall back into the same patterning, no commitment, them not showing up for me the way I needed or deserve. And I was like, and it kept getting better. Like, my boundaries kept getting better. But the bottom line is I was still putting up with it. To the point that I was like, okay. Earlier this year, I was like, I am done.
And I'm not going to ask you about you in the sense that, like, I don't like when people ask, like, the why analytical questions about,
I don't care
like, an unfolding and emotional process. But, like, why do you think that happens to other people? Like, if you look at other people that are in that type of a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I will speak to myself as to why I did what I did, because that's the only person I can speak to. And I think it will land with a lot of others, is the fact that there is probably some deep-rooted worth issue.
Yeah.
Overarching, that's probably the main theme.
That you feel like you're worthy, yes. Okay, got it. Continue.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm worthy of a lot of things, but obviously I was putting up with behaviors. But there was still that, like, fixer and people pleaser within me.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like I have a very big heart and I love hard. And I see people's potential. As I said, this whole time, I like expanding people, right? So I can see their potential and I fall for it's like I fall for the potential of the person, not the reality of what the person is.
Yeah.
And I just want to, again, going back to the control conversation, you want to fix them and make them better and bring them up with you. And, okay, well, if I'm doing this, then maybe he'll want to do this too. Or maybe I'm starting a business. Maybe he'll want to start a business too. Like, there's so many things. And not that it's a conscious thought. It's just behaviors that happen. And then I'm like, whoa, or we have history. We have so much history. Like, I know he's a good person. Deep down, he's a good person. He knows how to treat people good. I've seen it. I've seen him because I've known him for so long. Like, I know that this person is capable of loving me. I have hope that he will. He will change, blah, blah, blah. And I have been in an abusive relationship before. So although there was no physical as the one in my past was, emotional abuse is still a thing. And you keep hoping that they'll change, and it just gets worse most of the time unless they are proactively working on it. So it's an energetic, it's like a vibration. Like, we just want them to change. It's a control thing. There's a lot, actually. It's a lot. But I think, it was funny because I'm still writing a book. I'll probably be writing that thing for 5 years. But writing a book, and I decided to watch Eat, Pray, Love for the second or third time.
Classic.
Yeah, it's so good. But as I'm reading, I just remembered this line from the book, or from the movie, and I was going to, quote it in my book because it resonated so hard. So I go on Google and I search for this quote, and another quote came up, and it was what I just said about basically, I fall in love with the potential of a person versus the reality of what is.
Yeah. And
I was like, holy shit, that just
yeah,
that's who I am. That's what it is. So anyways, it just summarized exactly how I feel around things. But like I said, overarching, it's your worth. You don't, there's something that happened that you don't feel worthy of actually. There's so many people, I always say this too, and I'm highly aware of this too, and it may be you asking me about my dating, why I'm not intentional about it. I want to be in a relationship. That's I want that more. That's that needy. That's that get. If I could get a relationship, that would be great. Great. I'm not just going to settle in whatever, but I do want a relationship so much, and I want love and all of that, but there is a level of fear, and I know it. When someone comes at me and they're like, oh, and they feel it seems really good, I'm like, scary.
Yeah.
So there's a level of fear. I mean, I like having dialogue,
yeah,
and just, yeah, it's something that I like. Maybe that's it. I just thrive. I don't do it often enough, I feel like, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a part of why I feel like I'm not in the place where I want to be, is because maybe the conversations that I have on a regular basis aren't exactly what I want them to be. No. So then I'm talking business shit with my clients at my 9 to 5, which really isn't my job, but I like to help expand their mind. Then I'm like, okay, now we can get into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Why aren't you dating? Did you finish?
All right, that's time, guys. Did
you finish your spiritual course and now you're taking a break from dating?
Why am I not dating? Well, that is it. We are out of time. No time left to be continued. I've gone back and forth on this. So I'm not really at the place that I
want to be.
I don't feel like I am able to start a family right now. Yeah. Meaning from a financial perspective, being ready to have kids.
I get that.
And I want to, and I'm doing all the things. right? And we had really tough in biz. So like we do sales recruiting for the tech space. So we got fucking obliterated by COVID. I had to close the biz. I had to restart the biz. We had another good year, and then tech went into another recession.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am coming off of a lot of instability from a financial perspective.
Yeah.
Now, when I look back, I'm like, I could not have predicted COVID.
Right.
Nobody could have. So I got an office space. So saved up my money. Been running my business, saved up my money to expand, got an office space, hired employees, January 1st, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Lost it all. COVID. Rebuilt the whole thing. And then tech had a recession.
Right.
And I lost it all again for a second time. And I am in the middle of building that. And so I was talking to my sister about it, and she was like, well, of course you're not interested in a relationship because you don't feel like you can fulfill on very standard wants that a female would have in a relationship. At the age, I'm 40. So it's like,
I understand.
And she's like, she's like, I know that you can, but it makes sense why you feel like you can.
Yes.
She's like, you feel like you don't have enough savings, you don't have a flow of income in the way that like you envision it. And I'm not super bent out of shape about it. It's more like if I was looking at someone else and they were like, well, like, I'd be like, don't have a kid right now. Don't do that. Like, this is not a great, like, there will never be a good time to have kids, but motherfucker, there's definitely bad times to have kids. Right? And so it's like, so for me, I think that, and also a on again, off again relationship, right? That like I am still trying to get to a good space on, like where I feel congruent and like good to go. And so when I meet women, I'm like, you're not going to like what's on offer. Like, just straight up. Like, I mean, if you want to hook up or whatever, fine, but like, just not there.
Right.
You know?
I understand that. Yeah.
Now,
I definitely understand it.
both of those will come online. Like, I'm not upset about it. Like, I'm like doing all the right things. I'm also not super tight about it. I'm not like, it needs to look like this. So yeah, I'm just not like, I'm focused on the fundamentals. My mom is like really struggling with dementia. So I'm like the main caretaker, taking care of all of that stuff. I'm in the middle of this biz turnaround that like I run with my sister. And I'm like, this feels like a good amount of fullness. I'm down to work on projects like this that I think are going to be like fun and uplifting. And you know, when I'm back to doing $100K a month, I'll be fine.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So did all the energy leave the room? Thanks. Cool.
No, I totally understand that. I mean, that's what, when I was sharing about the person that I was like, oh, I got really needy. He was did not have a job. And and again, it wasn't like what I was trying to explain to him recently about my behaviors and everything. I was like, I have been going through a lot this year. I know you were too. I think grief played a big part in my neediness and everything. And again, I was just like so detached from myself. But I was just going through a lot. I know exactly where you're at. You don't have a job. You specifically, words came out of your mouth. I don't feel like a man. Like, I can't even, I can't provide for myself right now. How can I provide for a girlfriend kind of thing? And he wasn't talking about me. He was just,
in general,
he was just life chatting with me. And I was there to hear. And so I'm like, I knew where you were. I knew all of that. I said, I think I just got a little beside myself of like, I just wanted someone to hang out with, and you were fun, and you felt like a safe space because we've been friends for a while, and we've also been intimate. So if we want to hook up or hang out or whatever, like, it would have been fine kind of thing. So yeah, I started inviting you to go do all these things, and it pushed you away on the backside of things because I wasn't communicating, hey, I know what this is.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, I probably could have had I just communicated that with you,
I've
things
had
may have been a little bit different, but
no. I would say spot on. So like for me, I'm not super bent out of shape about it. Like I'm not saying like, oh, I don't, feel like a man per se, but like I've had a lot of women be like, hey, like it's just chill and it's whatever, and I go, I know you say that,
right, but it doesn't become that.
but it doesn't become that.
Right,
And
right.
like I have found from an evidence-based approach that like somewhere between like 3 and like 7 hookups, it goes.
We become stage 5 clingers.
It goes from
Yeah.
it's chill to this, and I'm like I'm aware of it. Like I'm
Right.
not a fucking moron. Like
Right.
I'm very good energetically. I don't want to say very good, but like. Okay, I don't know a guy that does more work than I do, like straight up.
Right.
Like I don't know a guy that has done like more journaling, more therapy, more
Right,
coaching,
no.
more
You're
spirituality.
aware of
like
what is happening.
super aware before
Yes.
the other person even
Most
is.
guys are.
Even from like the standpoint of like I don't want to take your agency from you, right? So like
Right.
even to the sense of like, well, I feel this way and I feel like it could possibly be true, but you're telling me otherwise, and I'm not gonna superimpose my belief system on you. So like we'll start to go down that path. But I can already tell.
Right. No, I know. And I know, although, yes, that is what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I know I've dated the guy. Like I've not dated him, but
Hooked up.
Yeah. So like I know that there are feelings there. Like there
Yeah.
were feelings there. It wouldn't have just been like this neutral, like let's just go hang out. Even if we weren't hooking up, even for us just to spend quality time, because quality time is one of my favorite love languages.
It's QT. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, if I was able, just spending time and talking, that's fueling me. Like, so I knew, but again, I was just like very disconnected from myself. And I was like, oh, like I'm just going to pour love into someone else and hope that they're like wanting that in return. And when I wasn't getting it from other person or obviously not myself. So
let me tell you my brilliant strategy.
yeah.
So
So whatever you do, girls, don't text the boy who is not texting you, okay? Let the man initiate always.
My brilliant strategy for this stage is friends, like female friends, where I'm like, hey, really not open for business right now, but like definitely down to like create good friendships with females.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just kind of leaving with the female persuasion.
Yeah.
My
so
friend
you're
pointed that
leading
out.
with the friend thing.
Well, like for me, it's like I'm actually like good about like.
Well, again, you guys can compartmentalize things.
Yeah.
We are like, oh, he said that to me. I wonder if he likes me. Oh, he probably does like me because that's what someone else did in the past, and that's what our brain does.
Sure, but as long as I don't hook up with you, then
Right.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
like it definitely diminishes that.
Yeah.
You
But if you
know?
like look at the person in a certain way, or if you do a little light tap on the shoulder or something, or there's something, they're gonna be like, wait, does he like me? Wait a second. He looked at me with those sparkly eyes. I think he likes me now.
Yeah.
There's still something because girls crave emotional connection.
Okay, remember turning
So
it
if
over
you're
to
giving
God. Like,
the
there's only so
emotional
much
connection.
there's only so much I can do. But I have to say this, like Kels, like
No,
I have
I know.
like a lot of
Kidding.
really good girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like that I'm like very close with.
Right.
And that we've never been intimate in any way.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like I really value like it's the same way with my guy friends where I'm like, I really value my male relationships. And I've had dude friends like kind of like, I don't want to say fuck me over, but definitely try to hook up with girls that like I'm like currently seeing. And I'm like, you, man, like you're really going to regret this because like quality men in your life, like quality male relationships, like man to man, are like, they're pretty rare, motherfucker.
Right.
And like you want them in your corner. But the same for females.
Yeah.
Like where I've got really close girlfriends that it's just really nice. And like they call me.
Oh, I agree. I have some really close guy friends.
Yeah. That's like strictly platonic.
Yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
they're
Yes.
really good sounding boards.
Yes.
For like, this is occurring and I know that you're an opposite sex that doesn't want me.
Right.
So you'll tell me the truth.
Right.
And I find that really valuable that I like have a handful of girls that I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is what's occurring. And they're like, da 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 da. And I'm like, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I know it's very valuable to have that. I agree.
Turns into a fucking reading rainbow session. Okay.
I think our conversation is really good. Don't get in your head about it. It's all good, and the world needs to see it.